Hello, fans. I honestly think the moment Sunny realizes Jocelyn is missing is going to hit like a freight train through Port Charles because this is not just another disappearance, not another one of those situations where somebody turns off their phone for dramatic effect and comes back 2 episodes later looking exhausted and mysterious. No, this feels darker, colder, planned. And the worst part is that Sunny is probably the last person Carly wants to run to, but also the only person she knows can actually tear the city apart to find Jocelyn before it's too late. I can already picture Carly barging in, barely able to breathe straight, panic all over her face while Sunny immediately knows something is wrong before she even speaks. That kind of scene always works because history sits in the room with them. Carly does not beg easily anymore. Not from Sunny anyway. But for Jocelyn, she absolutely will. And I think Sunny is going to feel that instant guilt, that horrible feeling in his stomach, because every danger around their lives eventually circles back to family. It always does. The terrifying thing here is that viewers already know Cassius kidnapped Jocelyn. We know the monster hiding behind the mask while everyone else is still chasing shadows. That makes every scene more intense because Carly and Sunny are operating blind while the audience watches the clock tick louder and louder. And honestly, I think that's what makes this storyline work so well right now. The tension is suffocating because the truth is sitting right there, hidden in plain sight. At first, suspicion is naturally going to land on Brennan. Of course it is. Brennan's name follows chaos like smoke follows fire. But this is where things get really interesting to me because if Brennan is already being held by Carly, Nina, and Valentine, then Carly has direct access to interrogate him herself. That changes everything. I actually think those scenes could become some of the best material in the storyline because Carly at her most desperate is dangerous in a very unpredictable way. She stops thinking about rules, stops caring about appearances. She just wants results. And Brennan, whether he's tied up somewhere or freshly released after being cornered, probably realizes very quickly that Carly is not leaving until she gets answers. The fascinating part is that Brennan may genuinely not be involved in Jocelyn's disappearance. Imagine Carly slowly realizing she has the wrong target while Brennan starts connecting dots faster than everyone else. That reversal would be huge. I think Brennan eventually gives Carly the clue that shifts everything towards Sidwell and Cullum. Maybe it's a detail nobody else notices. Maybe a location. Maybe a financial trail. Brennan has always operated 3 steps ahead mentally, so even while under pressure, he could still piece together what happened. And if he tells Carly Jason is alive and being held somewhere, that completely changes the board because Jason returning during a crisis involving Jocelyn feels inevitable. And honestly, I think Sunny hearing Jason's voice again after believing he vanished could become one of the most emotional moments in this entire storyline. Not emotional in a soft way, more like exhausted relief mixed with rage. Sunny telling Jason that Jocelyn is gone, that Carly is falling apart, that nobody knows who took her. I can almost hear the silence on Jason's end before that switch flips inside him. Jason becomes terrifying when someone he cares about is threatened. What really fascinates me, though, is the betrayal angle with Nathan. Because Jason trusted him. That's what makes this hurt. Jason even relied on Nathan earlier to protect Rocco after the shooting involving Cullum. Jason believed Nathan was dependable, solid, useful. And now he's going to discover the entire thing was a lie because Nathan is actually Cassius. That reveal alone is explosive. I honestly think Jason may completely lose control for a moment when he finds out. Not just because Jocelyn was kidnapped, but because he realizes he helped a predator without knowing it. Jason rarely misjudges people this badly. When he does, the anger becomes personal, brutal, quiet in the scariest way possible. And then comes the real nightmare. Cassius knows about Rocco. That changes everything. Because suddenly Jason cannot simply expose Cassius without consequences. Cassius has leverage, And it's terrifying leverage. If Jason destroys him publicly, Cassius can destroy Rocco in return by exposing the truth about the shooting involving Cullum. One life traded for another, one secret balanced against another. It becomes this ugly moral prison where nobody can walk away clean. I actually think the confrontation between Jason and Cassius could become unbelievably intense because both men would understand exactly where the pressure points are. Jason threatening to expose Cassius for impersonating Nathan and kidnapping Jocelyn. Cassius firing back that Rocco's future would collapse if the truth came out. Neither man blinking, neither willing to surrender first. And somewhere in the middle of all that fury, Jason probably punches him. Honestly, I would be disappointed if he didn't. Not some cinematic superhero punch either. I mean, a raw, furious hit from someone disgusted with himself for trusting the wrong person. Jason, finding out this man manipulated everyone while hiding behind another identity, should push him over the edge. Especially because Jocelyn's life is hanging in the balance. But the complicated part, the really twisted part, is that Jason may still need Cassius alive and cooperative. That's where this story gets morally ugly in the best soap opera way possible. Because I can absolutely see Jason realizing there is no perfect solution anymore. To protect Rocco, to save Jocelyn, to prevent another explosion involving Sonny and Carly, Jason may have to make a deal with the devil himself. And that deal could haunt him for months. Cassius keeps his identity secret. Cassius avoids prison. Jocelyn stays silent about the kidnapping. And in exchange, Rocco remains protected while Cassius secretly feeds Jason information about Sidwell and Cullum. The more I think about it, the more believable this arrangement becomes, because Jason has always carried other people's burdens like concrete chained to his back. He sacrifices pieces of himself to protect family. That's his pattern. That's who he is. So if he believes burying the truth is the only way to keep Rocco safe, I think he'll do it, even if it disgusts him internally. But the emotional fallout could become catastrophic. Because what happens when Carly learns Jason protected the man who kidnapped Jocelyn? That is the detail I cannot stop thinking about. Carly would never accept that quietly. Never. Even if Jason explains the situation with Rocco, even if he insists there was no other option, Carly's maternal instincts would overpower logic instantly. Jocelyn suffered. Jocelyn was terrified. Carly would want Cassius destroyed no matter the cost. And Sonny? Sonny might actually understand Jason's decision more than Carly does, which could create another fracture between Sonny and Carly all over again. Sonny understands impossible choices better than almost anyone. He knows what it means to bury truth in order to protect family. But understanding it and liking it are two different things. Meanwhile, poor Jocelyn becomes trapped in this impossible silence where telling the truth could ruin Rocco's life. That's heavy. Way heavier than people realize. She would basically be asked to swallow her trauma for the sake of another kid's future. That kind of emotional pressure changes characters permanently. And honestly, I think Jason would carry the worst burden of all because he would know every outcome is rotten. Expose Cassius and destroy Rocco. Protect Rocco and betray Jocelyn. There's no heroic ending hidden inside that equation. Just survival. Messy, ugly survival. That's why I think this storyline has the potential to become one of the darkest emotional arcs General Hospital has done in a while. Not because of explosions or shootouts, but because every character is cornered emotionally. Every choice damages someone. Every secret poisons another relationship. And the scariest part? Cassius may walk away smiling because he knows Jason cannot fully destroy him without detonating everyone else in the process.
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.